Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Convo Couch. I am Fiorella Isabel, and we are here quite late, but we wanted to come on because there's been so much news, and we released a video earlier today that spoke a little bit about the situation with Elizabeth Warren. And I just wanted to briefly go over what's developed since. And this is a very big deal because for a lot of people, for the longest time, Elizabeth Warren was the candidate that they thought would be the candidate that they could rely on. And it happens to be that she is not. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and talk about it. Just 1 second. Your account, Johnny, signed off on the computer. Give me your password. Okay. Thank you. So, as you guys know, yesterday, Elizabeth Warren accused Bernie Sanders of basically pretty much fabricated the whole thing, that he was not well. She recently accused him of being a anti-woman. He said that he wouldn't. She specifically said, Bernie Sanders said that a woman could not win the presidency of the United States. And before that, let's just play the little video and of exactly what she said.
I was disappointed to hear that Bernie is sending his volunteers out to trash me. Bernie knows me and has known me for a long time. He knows the coalition and grassroots movement we're trying to build. We all saw the impact of the factionalism in 2016. Democrats need to unite our party. I hope Bernie reconsiders.
So here's my problem with that. One, it's painting a completely... Okay, so I did a video obviously kind of outlining pretty much what happened, and Elizabeth claimed that Bernie Sanders had instructed the volunteers in the campaign to pretty much attack her. She specifically used, as you guys just heard, the word trash. And she also wrote an email and decided to fundraise off of this thing. She said, last night we got some disappointing news. The Bernie Sanders campaign is instructing volunteers to dismiss our broad-based, inclusive campaign by saying that people who support her are highly educated and more affluent people. When I heard that description, I didn't recognize it. That doesn't describe me or any of my passionate volunteers and organizers. I know this type of attack isn't about disagreeing on issues. It's about dismissing the potency of our grassroots movement. Let's be clear. As a party, as a country, we cannot afford to repeat the factionalism of 2016. So, first of all, she said that this is dismissive of her grassroots movement. We all know that Elizabeth Warren never spoke about a grassroots movement until after Bernie Sanders ran in 2016 and led a grassroots movement. Bernie Sanders, who also in 2015 wanted her to run, and a lot of people wanted her to run, including myself. And then because she wouldn't run, he decided he would run. And then, of course, we know that she did not endorse him. She also mentions the factionalism of 2016. This is very reminiscent of Hillary Clinton mentioning how we need to unite the party and how we need to come together and defeat Donald Trump. This is using those same talking points, which is something that she shouldn't have done. But it is also worth noting that people like Neera Tanden came to her support. People like Jennifer Rubin, who is pretty much hates Bernie Sanders. And Neera Tanden pretty much quoted Elizabeth Warren. And of course, this whole piece, as all of you by now know, was put out by Politico. Many people are claiming this was in tandem with Elizabeth Warren. There's not enough evidence to say that. But what we do know is that they published a piece without actually having verifiable proof. And Elizabeth Warren ran on it, fundraised from it, and subsequently went on to throw down a double whammy. The truth came out, though, that this didn't actually happen. And like I said, it seems like Politico ran with this. and it wasn't proven, and they went up and printed the story that Bernie Sanders campaign slams Warren as a candidate of the elite. And before I even go and show you how not true that is, I want to point out Elizabeth Warren's base is very white and is very middle class and is very educated. That is a fact. That is not something that can be denied. We have talked about it on the show before. We have shown the statistics, the breakdown of her supporters versus the breakdown of Bernie Sanders supporters. She is no Buttigieg as far as supporters go, but she definitely has a more upper class educated sort of backing. So Eric Isaac is a progressive on Twitter, and he was the one that kind of put out this thread on how this is what actually happened. And he said he describes himself as a random user who's only ever posted once before, posted that document in the Sanders Volunteer Slack group. So this is where the Slack group that he was in. And a moderator promptly removed it and stated that it was not a campaign source. It's important to note that because I talked about that in today's video. Bernie Sanders volunteers are instructed to do the opposite of go after candidates. They're instructed to not even mention any candidate at all whatsoever. They're instructed to focus on Bernie Sanders and what he has to offer, never on any other candidates, to the dismay of many people who are like, well, you need to show the difference. The campaign strategy is to not do that. So this doesn't happen. But again, that's my whole point. This is going to happen whether you do that or not. And I think we need to differentiate Warren and Bernie policy wise, right? Not attacks on personal issues, but policies. So he goes on to say, Bernie is not sending his volunteers out to trash any candidate. We have a very strict code of conduct, which I can verify, on how we must interact with voters if we want to be part of the campaign. Political and every other outlet reporting on this non-story are being incredibly irresponsible. I would happily post a screenshot of the conversation in Slack, but then I would be violating the terms I made with the campaign to not share screenshots of Slack. They delete anything that talks about any other candidates in any negative way. I want to say Slack, in case you guys don't know, is a type of organizing tool. It is kind of like a WhatsApp or a Signal type of messenger thing that you can download to organize chats. And it's very effective for organizing campaigns. And I've used it before. It's not my favorite thing. It's kind of confusing to some, but I just it's just a tool where you go. And if you're going to be part of a Slack, you're told not to screenshot any of these things. So that's pretty much what happened. But I also want to provide proof of when you often get if you're like a Bernie, like a leader in the in as a volunteer, or if you're like somebody that has to host an event, they literally show you videos on what not to do and what to do. And some of these include like this picture here that says, we stay focused. Our goal is nothing less than electing Bernie Sanders as president and transforming America to work for all of us. This is important work no matter what. Let's stay positive and focused on what matters. We don't mention our opponents by name. If we must discuss our opponents, we'll refer to them as as an opponent unless we are engaged in a conversation with a voter. And they always go back to what would Bernie do? As volunteers with Bernie 2020, we agree to the following terms. Never speak negatively about other candidates. We only point out policy differences. Remember, policies, not personalities. We will not let the differences of opinion and policy and strategy descend into a personal attack. Now, this is important because you oftentimes do have to mention policy differences, but you never refer it to, oh, Joe Biden sucks and he did this because he's terrible and corn pop. You never mention things like that when you're talking to people, when you're canvassing. So I don't know why they would choose to go with this story that wasn't verified and then make a whole fiasco about it. And subsequently, why Elizabeth Warren would not only choose to believe it and support it, but then go send fundraising emails out of it, which to me is really dirty and nasty, considering Bernie Sanders has done everything possible to not attack her. I also want to show this video from Megan on Twitter, Megan Day, where Bernie Sanders talks about his opinion on women.
The real issue is not whether you're black or white, whether you're a woman or a man. In my view, a woman could be elected president of the United States. The real issue is, whose side are you on? Are you on the side of workers and poor people, or are you on the side of big money and the corporations?
And he has never once said that a woman shouldn't be, couldn't be president. So he has denied it himself. He got questioned by a reporter, and this is what the reporter said. Do you approve of your campaign going after Elizabeth Warren? And he said, I got to tell you, I think this is a little bit of a media blow up. The kind of wants conflict. Elizabeth Warren is a very good friend of mine. We have worked together in the Senate for years. Elizabeth Warren and I continue to work together. We will debate the issues. Nobody is going to trash Elizabeth. He says, your campaign is trashing Elizabeth. Bernie Sanders says, what? Your campaign is trashing Elizabeth Warren. We have hundreds of employees. Elizabeth Warren has hundreds of employees, and people sometimes say things that they shouldn't. You have heard me give many speeches. Have I ever said one word about Elizabeth Warren? And they say, did you approve of this letter or this thing? And he says, no, of course not. And did you see the memo? He said, look, I just read about it. We have over 500 people on our campaign. People do certain things. I'm sure that on Elizabeth's campaign, people do certain things as well. But you have heard me for months. I've never said a negative word about Elizabeth Warren, who is a friend of mine. We have differences on issues. That's what a campaign is about. But no one is going to be attacking Elizabeth Warren. So instead of apologizing for this, of saying, hey, I'm going to retract my statement, of Politico maybe saying, hey, we're going to retract our story that didn't really have the verification it should have. And, we're going to continue calling ourselves journalists because we're going to do the right thing. Instead of that, Politico went on to publish another article because Elizabeth Warren then doubled down and then went on to say that Bernie told her a woman couldn't win the presidency of the United States. And this was on CNN, and it was published by pretty much Politico and everybody else. But the CNN article goes on to talk about the private meeting that they had. And there was only 2 other witnesses in this private meeting, and that it was a secret meeting, and that the 2 agreed to basically that they would remain civil and avoid attacking each other, which is what everybody had already heard, and would just focus on, taking down Donald Trump and blah, 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 and keeping the progressives together. But this is what Warren said actually on. She said, Bernie and I met for more than 2 hours in December of 2018 to discuss the 2020 election, our past work together, and our shared goals. Beating Donald Trump and taking back our government from the wealthy and the well-connected, and building an economy that works for everyone. Among the topics that came up was what would happen if Democrats nominated a female candidate. I thought a woman could win. He disagreed. I have no interest in discussing this private meeting any further because Bernie and I have far more in common than our differences on punditry in this race to talk about what's broken in this country and how to fix it, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I know Bernie is in this race for the same reason. We have been friends and allies in this for a long time, and I have no doubt we will continue to work together to defeat Donald Trump and put our government on the side of the people. Sanders subsequently denied this, of course, as well, and said, and now he's a little bit more upset. He told CNN that it was ludicrous to believe that at the same meeting where Elizabeth Warren told me she was going to run for president, I would tell her that a woman couldn't win. It's sad that 3 weeks before the Iowa caucus and a year after that private conversation, staff who weren't in the room are lying about what happened. What I did say that night was that Donald Trump is a sexist, a racist, and a liar who would weaponize whatever he could. Do I believe a woman can win in 2020? Of course. After all, Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump by 3 million votes in 2016. So obviously, not only either Warren is lying or her campaign is lying, but she was the one that put out that statement specifically regarding that private meeting, because she, and along with 2 other people and Bernie, were the only ones there. Why would she do that? Well, we can guess. Bernie is rising in Iowa. He is rising in California. He is rising in New Hampshire. He's number 1 in all those 3 states, and he continues to rise. And we are so close to Iowa, and he's so close to winning that we're seeing him be attacked by all fronts, not just by Elizabeth Warren, but we saw him being attacked by John Kerry. We've seen him sort of try to go after Joe Biden's policy record. We are seeing kind of things heat up. And so we're seeing this sort of kind of energy come out. But unfortunately for Elizabeth Warren, the Washington Post reported that the two people with the knowledge of the conversation of this 2018 dinner in Warren's home told them that Warren brought up the issue by asking Sanders whether he believed a woman could win. One of the people that was there with the knowledge of the conversation said Sanders did not say a woman couldn't win, but rather that Trump would use nefarious tactics against the Democratic nominee. So she basically took that and twisted the whole thing to say, hey, Bernie is saying that a woman can't win. Right? No, that's not what Bernie said. Bernie honestly and objectively said Donald Trump is going to take advantage of all her disadvantages, basically, right? Because let's look at her. She's got the Pocahontas thing going for her. She's got the subsequently the not attending the Dakota Access Pipeline protests. She also has the cookbooks and all of the things that Donald Trump can harp on. If Elizabeth Warren had not said something that wasn't true for the first time, I think more people would be more likely to believe her. But we've seen this behavior before, of course, when it came to her Native American heritage or not Native American heritage, when it came to the Harvard application where she listed herself as a woman of color, when it came to backing off of Medicare for all for a public option, then when it came to taking corporate money in the general. And we've just seen this behavior over and over again. So I think people are now like, okay, you cannot pretend that he said this and then twist his words around, because it's so disingenuous, and he's supposed to be your friend. So many people were propping her up as Bernie's the second most progressive candidate to Bernie, that she was an ally, that she was going to do the right thing this time, that she was going to endorse him when the time came. And all throughout, she has shown us that she's not going to do that. And in this channel and in other channels like MCSC, Jimmy Dore, Rising, The Gray Zone, all of these people have told everybody Elizabeth Warren is not a friend. Elizabeth Warren is not an ally, because she has shown us time and time again that she's going to do what the establishment wants her to do, period, point blank. So her supporters became more desperate after this whole thing, and they went on to say that they went on to kind of do this whole debacle where they invented that a Bernie supporter was mean to them. So under Millennials for Warren, they tweeted, look at what this Bernie Sanders, this is really how y'all are playing. And it says, hi, it's a text message from supposedly one Bernie Sanders volunteer to a Warren supporter. And it says, hi, Caitlin, it's Caleb with Bernie 2020. Bernie believes we have a corrupt political and economic system that needs major change. He's running for president to make our economy, our government, and our health, our healthcare system work for all of us, not just the wealthy few. Are you in for Bernie? And she says, no, I'm a volunteer with the Warren campaign. And they say, Pocahontas? Huh? Seriously? Grow up. So this looks really bad. Like if a Bernie volunteer tweeted that would be awful. But what actually happened was that it was actually a Warren supporter that did that actually took that number and texted from that number, pretending to be a Bernie supporter in order to get that reaction. And here's the tweet where it says they actually used a phone number for it that was assigned to a Warren staffer who received complaints about being abusive. And there you go. And you guys can see in the picture what it says and how that came about. So this has been a day where Bernie Sanders has been attacked. They have tried to attack his volunteers, his supporters, as really mean, as really, again, the whole sexist, misogynist. That is all they have, folks. That is all they have at this point. They do not have anything else. They don't have anyone else. I mean, they're trying to make Amy Klobuchar happen, but that's not going to happen. Pete Buttigieg has very little experience, no votes from people of color. Joe Biden is Joe Biden. And, somehow he's still leading in the polls. Nobody's buying that. Elizabeth Warren keeps thinking. They have nobody. So the Bernie Sanders supporters, Bernie, all of his campaign staff are being attacked this whole entire day. So who other than Tulsi Gabbard comes up and defends Bernie? Because if we recall, she also met with Bernie before she was going to run and told him, I'm running for president. If we recall, she also decided she was running for president before Bernie Sanders decided he was running. And she pretty much just knocked it out of the ballpark again with one of her tweets. And she said, I also met with Bernie Sanders before announcing my candidacy. We had a nice one-on-one conversation, and I informed him that I would be running for president. In that meeting, he showed me the greatest respect and encouragement, just as he always has. Now, this tweet has blown up, and it was only tweeted a couple hours ago, 4 hours ago, less than 4 hours ago. And it's kind of funny because what this tweet has done is the people that were battling and hating on Tulsi, and the people that were like, super pro Bernie and pretty much liked Warren and didn't like Tulsi, are now like, oh my God, Warren is terrible. Warren's not an ally. A lot of people are realizing this. I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people are realizing this, and they're like loving that Tulsi has defended Bernie, that Tulsi has also spoken against, had a very anti-interventionist viewpoint on Iran, and that she has stuck to her guns again, once again, showing the same loyalty she showed to Bernie in 2016, having it back. And everybody that's been pushing Warren as an ally, a lot of these people on TYT, Emma specifically, it's like, come on, there's no basis there for that anymore. It's done. She is done. Warren has effectively, in one fell swoop, united the progressives, Tulsi supporters and Bernie supporters, and effectively pretty much finished her campaign. She is done. I mean, people are now trending #refund Warren, because you can actually get a refund if you want your money back after a donation. And so people are doing is they're emailing Act Blue for Warren and saying that they want a refund. And here's an example of somebody doing that. It says Act Blue, refund from Elizabeth Warren donation. And then it says, thanks for reaching out to Act Blue. This is confirmation we have received your email. We are currently experiencing high volumes. So it's trending. So I'm afraid that they're experiencing high volume. So I just wanted to come out here because I am fed up with centrists, with the Warren stance that are trying to make this a thing. Bernie Sanders is not sexist. He did not say that a woman can't win the presidency. He did not do any of this. The coincidence is that he's rising in the polls and he's number one in the majority of them. And now all of these people are coming out of the woodwork. All of his supposed friends are stabbing him in the back saying, oh, well, he did this, and that. And their stories can't even be verified at all. And the things they're making up, and they're going after volunteers. It's ridiculous. And at this point, I think we need to be cognizant. And I think the Bernie campaign needs to be aware that this is what happens, even if you're nice to them, even if you're kind, even if you play by the rules and you do everything the right way, they're going to smear you, because that is what they're here to do. They're the establishment, and they're going to go after you, and they're scared to death. Right now, they're so scared because they're losing, and they know they're losing, and they've had to actually realize it. Holy crap, Bernie can win right now. Bernie can win, and they can't handle that. They cannot handle that. And so that's why we're seeing this happen right now as Bernie is surging. So, yeah, guys, I think, policy differences are okay between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, and we're going to see tomorrow's debate kind of showcase that. You bet they're going to ask him about this. You bet they're going to try to paint it as if he did that. Try to focus and divert the attention away from the reality of what people need to be doing, canvassing, voter turnout, etc., to what the gossip and the drama that they want. And I think Bernie's not going to let that happen. And if his last debate performance was indicative of anything, he's going to show that I'm the front runner because I have the most donors, the most volunteers, the best policies, and a lot of people support me. I have a working class movement. And the gall of Elizabeth Warren to say that Bernie Sanders, should understand her grassroots movement. She had absolutely zero grassroots movement until he was running for president. And that's when she decided that she was having a grassroots movement. So, Johnny, did you have anything you wanted to say? Okay, so we will be back tomorrow. In the morning, we're going to have Shahid Buttar first. He's going to be live via Skype. Then we're going to have a local congressional candidate named Angelica Duenas, who's running for Congress. And we're also going to be covering the debate, of course. And we're excited. We are still having our GoFundMe. We're going to post a link later in the comments. But please support us. We're trying to go to Iowa, which is going to, be sort of pricey. We're trying to get to Nevada as well, Florida, and of course we have California. We'd love to go to New Hampshire, but I think we're gonna have to pick a few. I'm gonna say hello to a few people there. Pasta will be back tomorrow with me. I know you guys love his always appreciated stuff. Hi, Jai Gabbard, nice to see you there. Marcos Kalida. Let's see. Karen M. Allison Irwin, nice to see you. Let's see. Larry Charles. What? Firepuff 12. Nice to see you. Was that the interview?
Yes.
You did a great job on the interview, Firepuff 12. Everybody was like talking about how you guys are so smart, and like if you read the comments, everybody's like, oh my god, these kids are so smart, they give me hope. And I'm telling you, like, I was not that aware, like at your age. Like I was better than some, but I was definitely not there. You guys are like, you do give me hope and faith in humanity. Glory Jones is another one that was really awesome. Jesus Samora, Shagrot, and Mountain Alley. No, Mikey. Oh, there you are, Mikey. Hi, fam. Where's Pasta, Mikey? So guys, thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. And
so we will be I gotta turn it up. Yeah, we will be live streaming the debates on Rockfin. I'm sure you know about Rockfin. I'm going to do my little pitch for Rockfin because guess what? It's the freaking future.
It is.
And if you're a creator, you need to get on Rockfin because the way it works is you get Ray tokens, which can be converted to Ethereum, which then can be converted to cash. And right now, Ethereum is going up, and it's expected to go up even more, and that will raise the price of Ray token. But anyways, we will be on Rockfin again because YouTube suppresses us from being able to live stream the debates.
Yep.
So, we'll
and
be on Rockfin.
I just want to see if does anybody have any comments on the whole, it's funny, the whole Tulsi, Warren, Bernie. it's just, I love it. I feel vindicated, and I know Niko does too, and a lot of us do, because a lot of people were telling us we were wrong, that Tulsi's a terrible person, that she's going to stab Bernie in the back, that she only cares about herself. And we're like, where do you guys see this? Who are you watching? What are you listening to? Like, she has shown time and time again she has his back. And yeah, she may not be polling that high in these polls that don't take into account Republicans that switch to Democrat, that don't take into account independent, that don't take a lot of things into account, that don't even poll her, for crying out loud. But that doesn't mean that she wouldn't have done that had she been polling higher. And she's like that with everybody. If you notice, she thanked Cory Booker she was like, my fellow vegan. She wished Andrew Yang a happy birthday. That is the kind of person she is. Just like Bernie, he's a very nice person, a very kind person, almost to a fault, I say, because, there's people like Elizabeth Warren that are more of an opportunist and a career-driven person, and, in my opinion. So, Anthony Chisholm, loved your chat with Ron and Graham. That was a great chat because the question came up, who would be the best for VP? And
what'd you guys say? I didn't watch it.
We all unanimously said Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, cool.
And the only other person I said that I would like would be Nina
Turner.
But as far as getting those other votes across the aisle, Tulsi Gabbard strategically is that person. If you can find me a better person, by all means suggest them. But I honestly have been like going through my head thinking who would be the best strategically. And a VP doesn't have to be a lame duck. A VP can be somebody with a lot of power and a lot of say in foreign policy, because remember, the president is the commander in chief, and a VP could do a lot. I mean, what's his name? Who was a very involved VP. I think am I thinking about Dick Cheney? But
eventually I could see Shahid Buttar being on somewhere in the.
Yeah. I mean, I love Shahid Buttar. We're going to have him on tomorrow.
And he's running against Nancy Pelosi. For those who don't know.
And guys, we have to realize we're not all going to agree on every single issue. Pasta and I disagree on. We're actually going to have a debate on on a couple of things here. We wanted to have a debate live for you guys to kind of like show you guys what we disagree on, because I mean, I think you guys can tell what we disagree on, but there's a couple of big things we disagree on, so we wanted to have a debate on that. So we're not all going to agree on every single little thing. So we don't want to throw out people just because we don't agree with them on like everything. But it's important to actually be happy right now, because Elizabeth Warren did us a favor.
She totally did us a favor.
She literally just brought the Tulsi people. I see so many Bernie people being like, oh my God, I was wrong about Tulsi, or I knew Tulsi wouldn't let us down. And just like this camaraderie between the two factions. This is what I've been wanting, you guys. This is what I've been dreaming of, because I believe those two will annihilate Donald Trump completely. I mean, those two together are unstoppable. And it's unfortunate that there are a lot of people in Bernie's campaign and also in the Democratic Party that dislike Tulsi so much because she is such a threat to the actual establishment, to the military industrial complex. But I think the majority of us, and this is what I've always said, the majority of my friends in the grassroots really do see them as the strong of the two. And I think it's important that we look at this strategically too. I may not agree with everything one candidate has to say, but what they're good at is what they're good at. Tulsi's great on foreign policy. Bernie's great on domestic policy. And he's also been strong on foreign policy. And so I think, together those two would be an unstoppable team. And it's something worth noting now. So thank you, Anthony, for the super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Again, I'm just so happy with I was really upset and really angry, and I just got happy with Tulsi's tweet and just kind of, the aloha and the togetherness and the actual solidarity, right? The Democrats want to talk about unity, but they don't want to talk about solidarity, about bringing actual people together based on our stance against the establishment. When we're united against the establishment, that's it. We can do whatever. We can do anything. So thanks, guys, for watching. Again, we'll be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. with Shahid Buttar, at 2 p.m. with Angelica Duenas, and then we will be covering the debates on Rockfin. We're going to start the pre-show here and then we're going to go to Rockfin. So as we always do. Yeah. Anything else, Johnny?
Nope. Just we've interviewed Shahid Buttar a couple times before. You can find him on our channel.
Yep.
And then we went to a progressive meeting or something, and he was there.
Yep.
And we filmed him, and he did a great speech on how it's like not left versus right, but the center versus the peripheral.
Yeah, I love that. The center versus the peripheral. Yes. Or, I mean, I would say the establishment versus the 1% too, if we're going to talk, class warfare. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to debating the importance of class warfare versus the importance of civil liberties. Pasta's civil liberties, I'm like class warfare, and I was telling him I want to debate that and see what you guys think, because that would be pretty awesome. And let me see. You have to say the catchphrase with the proper inflection. I'm not Pasta, you guys. Okay, wait. Thank you for the super chat contribution, as it is always appreciated on the couch.
You have to blast the mic.
Oh my God, I'm not gonna
break the mic.
Oh my God, no. You guys will have Pasta back, because for all the times he annoys me by blasting that in front of my ear, it's like, geez. But thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, all 200, 300 of you.
And MCSC Network, I couldn't get you guys up, so.
All right.
Bye, guys. CONVO out.
CONVO out. Peace.